One of you messaged me saying, hey, I'm a DJ. I want to control my subwoofer on an aux channel and I have this cute little Behringer XR12 mixer. Can you help me? So in this video, I'm going to show you what I think is the most flexible way to set up your mains and subs for either DJing or even if you're a very small 3-piece band. Although this mixer doesn't have output delays and polarity switches on the outputs, we will still do that. This is the edit app for the XR12. And let's say you have your DJ console plugged into inputs 5 and 6. Now by default, when you raise the faders of these channels, it will go to your main left, right, and then go out of your main output. So the first thing we can do is to send these channels also to a bus. So I'm going to select bus number 1 and go to the sends, and I'll actually click on the bus 1 label right here to see the sends page of the bus. And I want to set the tap points to subgroup. So now if I select the channel, I can turn on bus 1. And since these two are linked, they will both be on bus 1. And because it's a subgroup, I don't need to actually send it anywhere. The fader of the channel will send that level to the bus. And if I go into the in-out routing menu and go to the aux out, by default, bus number 1 is going out of the aux number 1. So you connect your main left-right to the left-right outputs and the aux 1 to your subwoofer. And of course, you can set your crossover point by going to the left-right EQ and doing a low cut at 100 Hertz, for example, and then going to your bus 1 and doing a high cut at 100 Hertz. And there you go. This is your setup, assuming everything else is perfect and your speakers are the same model from the same brand and perfectly aligned in time and phase. But that's not always the case. So here's the more flexible solution that I'll show you. This mixer, although it only has 12 inputs, it actually has 16 channels. And although it only has 2 aux outputs, it does have 6 buses. So just because you don't have physical ins or physical outs doesn't mean you can't use the resources inside the mixer. I'll select channel 16 that doesn't have physical input, and I'll go to the in-out routing menu, input page, and for channel 16 I'll assign input 5 because that's where we plugged our cables from the DJ table, and this channel will have the exact same signal that is coming into channel 5. In most cases I would do mono subs. If you're doing electronic dance music and you have actually stereo information in the sub, do stereo subs, otherwise keep it in mono. Let's call this channel sub. Now I don't want this channel to also get into the mix because this is the sound that I want in the mix. That is only for the sub. So I'm going to select it and go to the main section and turn off main stereo. So right now this channel is not going anywhere. Next step, I'm going to go to the in-out routing menu and go to the aux out page, and I'm going to assign aux 1 to channel number 16, and it's going to be post fader. So right now your music is going into channel 5 and 6 that are going to the main mix, and that is feeding the main speakers. And the same music is also getting into channel number 16, which is feeding the subwoofer. And here is where it gets interesting. I'll select the channel and go to the channel view. It does have a polarity switch. So in the case where my subs are not perfectly aligned with my mains, I have the ability to invert the polarity. And sometimes that will fix the weak bass because the subs will be summing more than canceling each other. Now, other times the polarity might not be enough. So you'll go to the effects tab and choose the last effect slot because you're probably not using it for anything, and I'll click on type and I'll choose the stereo delay effect. And here are the settings. Mix 100%, low cut all the way down, high cut all the way up, feed low cut all the way down, feed left 0%, feed right 0%, feed high cut all the way up, offset left right 0, and keep the factor left right on 1. And the cross feed mode will be stereo feed mode. And this time right here will be your delay. You might need to press control while moving it to have finer control over it. Now I have the settings ready. I'll click on the first slot right here and choose channel number 16, and I'm gonna insert it. And I'll turn on the effects button. Now this delay effect is inserted on channel number 16. And since this channel is going out of aux number 1 post fader, the effect will take place. So if I do 13 milliseconds and I have the polarity inverted on that channel, that is the signal that is feeding my subwoofer. So even in a not so optimal situation, you can still align your subwoofers to the mains and have a lot more bass and have all your speakers summing together instead of fighting each other. Now, of course, if you want stereo subs and you want to waste your two precious outputs, you can link channel 15 and 16. In out menu, I'll go to input and assign 15 to input 5 and 16 to input 6. So now the same exact signal is going into both these channels. Make sure the sub channels are not in the main left right, and go to the effects and assign it to channel 15 and channel 16, and make sure insert is turned on and the effects button is turned on. Then I would go to the routing menu and go to the aux page and assign aux1 to channel 15 and aux2 to channel 16. Post fader. There's one more thing I need to do is on the sub channels, I'll go to the EQ and do a high cut at 100 Hertz or 90 Hertz or whatever your crossover frequency is. And on the main left right, I'll do a low cut at that same frequency. Now we still need a way to control both of these channels together proportionally without moving both of them manually. So you can either use a DCA from the mixer. I'll click on utility, DCAs. So I'll select the channel and go to main and click on DCA group 1, and I'll do the same for the sub channel, DCA group 1. You get your balance the way you want it, and you can use the DCA fader to make it louder or quieter. However, I don't really like to do this. I would rather use mixing station and an iDCA. So I'm gonna open mixing station, and in general, I like it better for everything on every mixer. Press and hold on a layer, edit, and remove the channels that I don't want, and keep the channels that I want. So I want 5, 6, and 15, 16, and let me click on the plus button on the top right side of the screen, create an iDCA. I'll call this music, and I can give it a color, red for example, and the target mix will be left right, yes, and I'll assign to it channel 5, 6, and channel 15 and 16. Let's go back. Now on my layer, I have this iDCA, which if I touch, it will move all the faders together. So this is the level of the music, and this is the level of the music that is going to the subs. I can just use this fader to lift it or lower it, and it will do so proportionally. Now, if you're a small band and you want a main left, right, and the sub and 3 monitors, you can do that. By default, bus number 3, 4, 5, 6 are subgroups. So if you have drums, for example, you can select the channel and go to the sends and turn it on bus number 3. And you have a bass channel, I'll go to that bass channel and also turn it on bus number 3. And since it is a subgroup, the fader of the channel sets the level that is going to that bus. And then you'll go to the in-out routing menu and go to the aux out page and say that aux number 2 is bus 3. And so the fader of bus 3 will be the level of your subwoofer. And you can do the same thing, go to the effects and choose an effect slot that you're not using and select the stereo delay effect, open it, mix 100%, low cut all the way down, high cut all the way up. The mode will be stereo feed mode, feed low cut all the way down, feed left 0%, feed right 0%, feed high cut all the way up, offset left right will be 0, factor left right, keep it on 1. And this is your delay time. So I'm gonna select right here, bus number 3, and I'm gonna insert it and turn on the effects button. So now I can delay my bus that is going to the subwoofer to align it with the mains, but I don't have a polarity switch because we only have polarity on the channels on this mixer. Now you have a left, right, and the sub, and you still have just one more output. But I told you that you can have 3 monitors. So one of the aux outputs, which is aux1, that is still remaining, will be your first monitor. That is bus number 1. You can send channels to it. And your second and third monitor will be the headphones output. So if I go to setup, go to monitor, your monitor source can be any bus. So I'll choose bus 5 and 6, and I'll go to bus 5 and go to the sends, click on it and make sure that it is a normal monitor. So I'll do post EQ. Same thing for bus number 6. I'll do post EQ. And if you want, you can turn off the global setting and put the effect returns on post fader so that when you turn down the effects return, it also gets turned down in the monitor. One more thing left to do is to pan bus number 5 all the way left and pan bus number 6 all the way right. So now if you plug a splitter cable into the headphones output, you can get the left signal alone to go on one monitor and the right signal alone to go on another monitor. And this is how you can have 3 monitors left, right, and a subwoofer and a live band on this little cute mixer, or do your DJ setup. Although at first it might seem like this mixer can't do much, but it actually has the same effects as the bigger mixers. And if you know how to use it, you can get a lot out of it. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, click on the video on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.